Both parties, please raise your right hands.
Plaintiff Bethy Bearcub Hudson is suing her husband's ex-girlfriend, Seasons Ruiz, for harassment and assault. Bethy says Seasons jumped out of her car, grabbed her by her hair, and then threatened her life. Seasons admits to having an altercation with the plaintiff, but says Bethy hit her first.
All rise. The Honorable Judge Judge Pirro presiding.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Judge.
All right.
Please be seated.
Is it Bethy?
Yes.
Bethy Bearcub Hudson is suing the defendant, Seasons Ruiz. She's suing her husband's ex-girlfriend for harassment and assault. There is no counterclaim here. Bethy, why don't you tell us why you're here today?
Okay. Well, I know the defendant because she is my husband's ex-girlfriend who he shares 2 children with.
Ah.
I met my
So she's the mother of his children?
Yes.
Okay.
I met Philip in 2005 while he was incarcerated in Washington State.
Okay. What were you incarcerated for?
Assault.
Assault. Who'd you assault?
A football player.
Okay.
Okay, well, my cousin introduced us. I began writing him on a regular basis because he basically didn't have anybody to talk to. I went on Christmas of 2005 to visit him. From there, it turned into every weekend I went to see him. He was released in February of 2006. I picked him up. I took him shopping, bought everything that he needed for his trip back to Tucson. That's where he was being released to be with his kids.
So at this time, you have no relationship with the mother of your children?
Well, just correspondence through mail, but that was like few and far between. It wasn't very frequent.
Okay. All right.
Shortly thereafter, I met his kids. We were married June 27, 2006.
How long after you got out of jail were you married?
Like 6 months.
6 months. Okay, so why are we here?
Since I've came part of the picture of Philip's life, his ex has had problems with me from day one. I've never provoked her. It all came to a head, I guess, in this past New Year's Eve. We usually have a party for the kids, and we were getting ready to do so. His son was already with us. His daughter was still with her mother.
So there are 2 children. How many children do you have with him?
1.
All right. All right, so it's New Year's Eve, everybody's together, but the daughter's with the mom and the son is with his dad, and you and your baby with Philip.
And my other 2 sons.
You have other sons. Okay, so there's 4 kids in the room.
Yes.
Okay.
We decided that we need to go to the store to get the rest of the party supplies, like the sparkling cider. His daughter calls him, and she's like wants to know when we're coming to get her. And we said, we'll come get you. You know, pretty soon we need to finish shopping. And while we're at the store, we had left the kids at the park, which is maybe about 4 blocks away. My oldest son has a cell phone, so she said, well, where's my brother?
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 9.
Okay.
So she started asking all these odd questions, and he asks her, you know, who's there telling you to ask me these things? And then all of a sudden the phone just goes dead. Seasons' mother, Sheila, calls back, and Philip answers it, and she says, you know, where's my grandson? He just hangs up on her because that's how they talk to us. Like they can just call us and demand whatever.
Who's asking for the grandson?
Her mother.
Your mother?
Yes.
Okay. Are you there when this happened, Seasons?
No, I was at home. She had my daughter, and she was getting ready to take my daughter.
Okay, so your daughter's calling Philip and his new wife, but your daughter's with your mother.
Yeah, because we were supposed to exchange them.
So what happens?
Okay, so then he stops answering his phone. They keep calling. Then they switch and start calling my number. And then I get a voicemail alert, and it's, I get vulgar message from her, and she's threatening to come over to my house.
What do you mean she's threatening? Is she saying, I'm coming over to your house?
Yeah.
How is that a threat?
She says, I'm going to come over there and cause problems, and Philip knows he doesn't want that. So somebody needs to...
So you're saying on New Year's Eve, the defendant calls you up and leaves a message on your cell phone saying, I'm going to come over to your house and cause some problems.
Yes, and later
Did
on...
you do that?
No.
Did you call her?
I called them to ask where my son was, and they didn't want to tell me where my son was.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up. Philip, stand up here. What is the breakdown? Who's supposed to have visitation on New Year's Eve or custody?
They were to spend the night with me.
So why are you calling Seasons Philip and his new wife?
I called to ask where my son was because we were exchanging them. I wanted to know why my son was at the park by himself, unsupervised, 11 years old. How did you know that he was?
My daughter called me and told me, and they told me.
But your daughter's with your mother, and she sees her brother at the park.
Miss Bearcub just said that they told. Miss Bearcub just said that they left him at the park.
No. You don't bootstrap what she said to support your claim, okay? I've been around the block, okay? I don't need to hear this. How did you know that night that your son was unsupervised in the park?
Because my daughter told me first, and she said, Mom.
How did your daughter know?
She talked to her dad, and her father said he's at the park.
Philip, did you speak to your 9-year-old daughter and tell her that the son's at the park unsupervised?
Well, I told her that they were at the park with his other 2 brothers, with his stepbrothers.
How old are his stepbrothers?
11 and 6 at the time.
This is not good, Philip. Sit down. All right, go ahead, Bethy.
Okay, and I do have the message. She did leave me a message, and her mother.
Yeah, she's upset because her 9-year-old is alone at the park on New Year's Eve. You don't have to read the news or read the paper or watch the news to find out what happens to kids at a park on a night when people are drinking.
No, it was early in the afternoon, and the center was open.
It's New Year's Eve. People start drinking for breakfast, some of them.
Well.
So, let's move on.
Okay, and I have the message if you would like to hear them.
Yeah, oh, I would like to hear the message.
Okay, so there's 2 of them.
This is Stevens, and one of you need to answer your phone while I go down there causing some damn trouble. And so, no, if you don't want that, if somebody call me. This isn't Stevens. This is Stevens' mom. You don't talk to me like that. You should know better. So, we're going to go to the house with the police. And the policeman is my friend.
Plaintiff Bethy Bearcub Hudson is suing her husband's ex-girlfriend for harassment and assault. Bethy says she attacked her at a park.
You got a lot of nerve, and so does your mother.
Well, yes, I was angry, but that was because my son was at a park by himself.
No, well, then what you do is you say, I don't want my son at the park alone on New Year's Eve. You don't threaten her. Where do you get off threatening her? That is a crime. It is a crime to call someone on the telephone and threaten them. You're lucky. Did you call the police on her?
Not right away.
You should have, because right there you've got aggravated harassment, and you've got the proof of it.
Yes.
That is a crime for which you could be arrested. So worried about your kids? Try to stay out of jail. Try not to commit any crimes. Go ahead.
Okay, so right after all of this, I immediately called the boys, said we're on our way to pick you up. So we pull up to the park, they get in the car, then the little boy sitting in the front seat next to his dad, and he looks up and he says, is that my mother? And we look up, and sure enough, her and her mom are pulling up in the car.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing outside, and I just waved at the kids, and she starts flipping me off. She starts yelling something, I can't tell because she's in the car and it's rolled up. And then she jumps out and she starts marching my way. She comes over, she grabs me by my hair, and she just starts swinging. So I started swinging back at her. Then all of a sudden I hear her mother saying, ooh, Seasons, ooh, let me get some. And then her mom starts screaming, saying, do you see this? Because there's people playing basketball. Do you see this man over here? He's assaulting a woman. Do you see this? You know, and then after that, she starts screaming obscenities, talking about how he's on parole, so you're going to go back to jail.
Do you have any injuries, police reports, photographs?
Yes, I do have police reports.
All right, Seasons, what do you have to say for yourself?
Basically, Your Honor, I don't exactly know why I'm here. I don't talk to these people. I don't deal with these people. I was angry that day, and yes, I shouldn't have called her and said that, but I didn't know where my son is. I walk my kids everywhere. I don't leave them alone anywhere. So yes, I was angry, and yes, I did say that, but that was because I was angry. I didn't know where my son was. And the park that they took him to is a homeless, hoodlum, loitering park. He used to gangbang there when he was young, so I don't know why he would just drop his son off at a park.
You gangbanger?
No.
Go ahead.
And I was angry because my son was at the park and they would not tell me where my son was. All I wanted to know was where he was.
What do you mean? My son was at the park and they would not tell me where my son was?
They wouldn't tell me what park he was at. They wouldn't tell me what park he was at.
You just said you were angry because the park was a dangerous park, and now you're saying you didn't know what park your son was at.
At first, they didn't tell me what park they were at.
You're losing credibility with me. Let me ask you a question, Seasons. If you think that someone is creating a dangerous situation for a child, why wouldn't you report him to Child Protective Services? You obviously don't like the guy. Look, I sat in the family court. You called Child Protective Services. They look into a family. They look into whether or not they are appropriate parents for those children. If you think your kid's in danger, you don't take the law in your own hand and start beating them.
Yeah.
And your mother, I don't like the sound of her from what she's telling me. Here's the bottom line, okay? Do you want to tell me anything else?
Oh, just that after that, when they was screaming before they called the police, she did scream that I was dead and so was my newborn son. So
Your Honor,
this was out of jealousy out of my new baby.
like that?
I wouldn't say anything about a baby. I might have said her, but I wouldn't say anything about.
Oh, you might have said she's dead. Oh man, you want to keep your mouth shut because every time you open it, you commit another crime. I don't care if you're angry. You know what? How would you like it in the murder cases that I tried? If a defendant stood there and said to me, Your Honor, I was angry. You know, forget about it.
Well, Your Honor, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I was angry that they left.
You know what? You may be honest as far as you're concerned in your head, but as far as I'm concerned in my head, you're committing crimes. Okay, so. That's
if calling her and you know saying what I said,
threatening her is a crime.
Well, yeah, I'm guilty of that then.
Good.
I'm guilty of that.
All right.
Then.
Did you not make a complaint and ask that she be arrested?
Yeah, I did. They couldn't contact her. You'll see in her mother's report.
But they could find her.
No, they couldn't find her.
You don't not arrest someone because you can't find them.
Right.
Listen to me, Bethy. Were you afraid to go forward because he was on parole?
No, I made the report.
You did want to go forward. Why didn't you insist on it?
I called the prosecutor's office. They said what they did was put out an all points bulletin when they took my report. Here's, oh, I forgot it. I have the little blue card that they give you. They say you're victim of crime. Call this number if an arrest has been made. You'll be notified.
To let you know if she's been arrested. Boy, this is making no sense to me. All right. What else do you have for me?
A message that her boyfriend had left while the police were taking my report about he's going to slit my husband's throat for touching his girl. So you want me to play that too?
Go ahead.
Okay.
My ass, mother, for touching my girl. I'm going to slit your mother throat. You better watch everywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you coward.
This is a Tucson Police Department?
Yes.
And they're not making arrests of her or her boyfriend for this kind of stuff?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody from Tucson is listening, and I'm sure there are, you've got a problem with your police department if you've got evidence like this. These are people who should be arrested. The evidence is there, it's solid, it's in the middle of a fight, we've got enough admissions from over here, you could go forward with that with no problem. And as a DA, I would have in a minute. All right, what else?
On January 2nd, at about 11 a.m., I began receiving texts from Seasons. First 3 texts were pictures of a poem or a letter that my husband had written her while he was incarcerated some odd years earlier. And then she wants to try to convince me that she's sleeping with my husband. And I have the whole conversation here for you as well on that.
Philip?
It's all lies. It's all untrue.
Good answer.
Here's and I also have the text, my phone logs and stuff, so it'll tell you the first thing that I got was received, not sent. I never contacted her ever, and here's my phone bills and Phil's phone logs to prove that as well. She tries to say that he calls from work, but that's merely impossible.
You've been hooking up with him while he's been with Bethy?
No. When he's mad, they're mad at each other, he'll give me a call and basically say, could he come over? And I have letters from when he was writing me in prison saying, could he come stay with me when he gets out?
Who cares? He wasn't married when he was in prison. He didn't get married till 6 months after he got out of prison.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Well, when
if I were in prison, I'd be looking for a place to stay too. You know? This is meaningless to me. Okay, what else? Where are the kids in the middle of all this fighting?
Oh, she keeps him away from us. He actually had to go get a visitation order where she, in her request, because I did get a restraining order against her, she had the audacity to go get one against me, and she lies in hers. She says, I left my 3-month-old baby with her 9-year-old daughter. I'm constantly putting her children down, which is basically all lies, and she's just using the court to manipulate the system so that the children can't come visit their father.
Defendant Seasons Ruiz admits to having an altercation with the plaintiff and threatening her life.
What do you want to say, Seasons? Anything?
I don't have a problem with Miss Bear Cub. I don't have a problem with their relationship. It's just that, like Mr. Hudson, me and Mr. Hudson, we were okay. He was coming to see the kids every day. He was coming to see them every night. He asked me, do you want to have a relationship? If not, I'm bringing this broad down. I said, no, you're crazy. I don't want to get back with you, because when we were together, he would bang his head into walls, smash things over his head. I would have to have relatives come and stay with us because he would leave the gas on in the house with the kids. I left him in...
Is that true, Philip?
No, Your Honor.
It's true, Your Honor. I left him...
Did you make reports of this?
No, I just left him. I just left him.
You know what, Seasons? I don't even want to hear from you. I'm done. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. In this case, the defendant, as far as this court is concerned, is an incredible person as a matter of law. And what I mean by that is this. Everything that you have said in this courtroom is contradicted by facts, police reports, and tape recordings, okay? You, on the one hand, say you're concerned about your 9-year-old son being alone in a park, and on the other hand, you would allow your son to be in the custody of a father that you said left the gas on in the house and would beat himself up and everything else, so that your children would be in danger by this guy, and you've never said a word. As far as I'm concerned, the plaintiff's request for damages for assault and pain and suffering from assault for $2,500 is granted. You, as far as I'm concerned, are not someone who's protecting your kids. You are violent. Your brother or your boyfriend or whomever is violent. Your mother's violent. And you belong in jail, and shame on you for not filing charges against her. That's my verdict.
Thank you.